5 semi-final. New patch action, TvP style, in the top left-hand corner from the Shopify Rebellion is ByuN. Ooh. I just saw something interesting on MaxPax's camera, and that is he hotkeyed the gold base. I wonder if he'll try and take it here, or if that's just something he does in general on this map because he feels like he will be there at some point. Some people will just be set up to kind of do that every game and stuff, but well, he didn't do it like straight away or anything, but okay. See what happens. MaxPax in the top right from Storm Game. Guys, I will just tab out and have low FPS for one moment here while I do a cheeky little prediction for you guys. Requesting it. There you go. Have fun as we get going. I was kind of thinking it'd be kind of funny if ByuN won this, right? And then it's like a Group A finals, and we had a Group A player in the semi-final against Ragnarok, who's also from Group A, and Group A is like the one group we didn't freaking cast, and it's like, huh, we kind of skipped out the group that dominated the playoffs. Awkward. We picked Stargazers. MaxPax picked Stargazers to start off this series, so that is why we are starting out here. There's that probe. Just going to come up across the other side, Reaper coming in, Orbital morphing through Cybercore, and the Nexus already producing to get things underway early. Excitingly good one, man. Every time ByuN and MaxPax play each other, it's always a banger of a series, actually. These two really do trade well against each other and all that kind of stuff, so yeah, very excited. Feel like this could be a very good time. As we do have our cracks coming up, Reactor coming through. And just going to be seeing there's going to be a 2-Rax open already, so ByuN going to be a little bit bio-heavy. ByuN has not been doing any crazier stuff in this event. He's tried out a couple of the patchy things, but he's been pretty happy to just kind of play his builds and kind of be one of these players who lets the patch overlap with his builds more so than building builds around the patch, as we've seen from, like, you know, for example, from Hero Marine earlier, for example. Reaper coming across the other side. A couple of racks are producing, like I said, so it's 3 racks. ByuN building his CC on the in-base as well, so hard for MaxPax to know what the hell's going on. Just going to open a Stargate and hope that that can provide enough information for him here to get into an okay, decent position, and then to just go from there in general as the Adept is there, and it's going to keep the Reaper at bay. This map's good for Terran, but in TvP? No, it's actually a Protoss map. Typically seen as a Protoss map, but it is a weird map, right? So it's a bit more kind of down to style than just being a straight up kind of like thing. The gold base obviously usually is more helpful for a Protoss player than a Terran player. Some of the Korean Terran players quite like the drop-in kind of system on this map and the ability to kind of like push through this side and then drop up into this in-base, for example. Protoss players do like to play Phoenix on this map, very defensive, very difficult to push into if you don't have those drops open to you. So yeah, it's really like a very stylistic thing. Like I say, I generally would say, like, as an overarching theme, I would say it's actually a Protoss map in TvP. MaxPax pretty much always picks this one. Yeah, but it's kind of the Terrans that seem to sometimes prefer it and sometimes really dislike it, you know? So yeah, MaxPax getting first map pick, guys. ByuN gets server preference. Get a better map score through the group stages, which gives him a slightly better seed. Otherwise, if there was a similar map score, it would have been a roll of the dice. So he has slightly better kind of seeding, and that gives him the server preference in the playoffs. And if he wins, whoever wins this gets server preference in the finals. They both have a better seed than Ragnarok coming into the playoffs. And this is going to be seeing a few Marines making their way out on the map. Like I say, there's 3 racks setting up, and here comes MaxPax scouting, picking up some info for the first time, perhaps, in quite some time. And man, if he doesn't know about this bio push, he could just be dead on the front door. He does not have... I mean, at this point, you'd build an Immortal, right, against the 3 racks, and he doesn't even have an Immortal set up. He doesn't have a battery either. I think he's dead. I think MaxPax dies in the next 40 seconds, right? ByuN moves forward. The Phoenix have just seen it. I just don't know if there's any surviving this. There are no units. 2 more Adepts just walked in. There's no battery. The pylon at the front is obviously, yeah, not going to be enough. We target down a Phoenix already. Was dead too strong of a word, or was it the perfect word? I think dead's the perfect word, honestly. I mean, as the Adept goes down, we can probably target the pylon and depower the Robo. He's just going to make the most of this and just kill off as many probes as he can. Doesn't seem to think the depowering of the Robo is worth it. Might not be wrong, honestly, as the Immortal pops out into trouble. He's actually just going to stim up into the main base, says, hey, all your defense is on the natural. Going to be low HP on these Marines, and the Phoenix will start to live. 18 probes going down. MaxPax is in a world of trouble. Dead? I think dead's a pretty fair statement when you're 20 workers down. You've got Phoenix to put in a little bit of work, perhaps, but there's no way that a follow-up attack of ByuN is not going to take advantage of being up 20 workers in TvP, right? So I feel like dead's an okay statement. MaxPax will counter with the Phoenix. He had to use a lot of his Phoenix energy trying to defend, of course, which means he doesn't have a ton of lifts available to harass himself back into a better position, though, so that's another part of the problem, I suppose, really. As these Phoenix turn back up to the top side, and again, just having a little look around. I look to see if there is anything in particular they might get up to. ByuN, 2 more barracks, 3rd CC finishing on location as well, so his economy is going to be booming from the very get-go here. There's going to be no questions about that at the start of this series. And here we go, the Phoenix going to try and make that play in. 1, 2, 3 Marines. Yeah, like I say, bits of damage, but never enough to really, truly kind of bring you back. I mean, you slow down the army supply a little. Obviously, MaxPax is building a 3rd base, but the speed of that is, again, horrific compared to what you'd usually expect out of a Protoss player. It's so late. I mean, I guess for Phoenix Colossus, it isn't really... It's still late, but it's more acceptable. But obviously, if you're playing Phoenix Colossus, you're meant to be super defended because you're on 2 bases for such a long time. You shouldn't have taken the damage that you've taken already, so it's only sort of in line. Yeah, the fact that it's in line, but then you're this many workers behind is, like I say, it's not good. I mean, anything I say basically is a criticism on MaxPax's position in this game at this point, but sometimes that's just how it be. ByuN is going to start moving out. He will go Ghost Academy behind this. EMPs will be good against the Phoenix and also against the Colossi, weaken them up a bit. Again, Ghost EMP is changed in this patch. You do have the higher radius from the initial start of the Ghosts, but they can never have as big as a radius as they used to have because Enhanced Shockwaves is no longer an upgrade. And one thing I do expect to see of throughout this series as well, talking about the changes, will definitely be the Raven a little bit. Builds more quickly, only 30-second build time, only takes 150 gas now. Those 2 things in combination you'd expect would be pretty good. I'm not actually too convinced it's going to be good enough, though. Because, well, yeah, right. I mean, we're talking about... The Raven is kind of like... nerfed a little bit. You can't get as many auto turrets. I think we might still see 1 Raven per game, and almost more often than not a Raven per game. I just don't think it's enough to kind of be like, yeah, we're going to start making multiple Ravens per game, right? The Raven's still good, don't get me wrong. I don't want to I feel like I misspoke a bit with my statement. Raven's still good, but it's not going to be used, I think, in much of a way more than it was before. And I think, in general, it's not as good of a harassing tool in TvP as well. So while you might actually, I guess for all these cases I'm making for seeing the Raven more often, maybe we'll actually see the Raven a bit less because it is going to be that much worse harassing. That was one of the biggest strengths of the Raven, able to just auto turret up mineral lines and deal damage throughout the game. It's going to be seeing our Ghosts, Bio, getting ready to make this push, guys. We do lose a medevac. 1 EMP, going to hit well, hits both, all 3 sentries. And the EMP on the Phoenix would be nice as well. Obviously, you just want to make sure you do land it. You only have 3 Ghosts, so 3 MPs total, and we've used 1. Just to take the energy off the Phoenix, right? Take some of the lifts away as this fight starts out. I feel like MaxPax is almost baiting the EMP to come down. As ByuN is on 1-1 upgrades. I mean, it feels like you look at this and... yeah, well, that's the EMP. I feel like ByuN's got every advantage you could want. He's going to load up a bunch of units and just go drop them. And use that chaos, perhaps, to commit into some sort of a fight. Phoenix will miss the drop as it does get into the main base. Nope, don't kill anything there initially, and like I say, ByuN will use the reaction to create an attack into the 3rd bases. He turns around here already, he's going to hit some EMPs, he gets rid of 1 Colossus, he will get rid of 2, I think. Super Battery is obviously nerfed as well. That might have been a scenario where this, Colossus stays alive if the Super Battery was the one of old, but being the new Super Battery, kind of just dies. In the top right-hand side, this will be our blue Protoss player from Psystorm Gaming. Down a map, it is MaxPax. Up against the red Terran in the bottom left-hand side from the Shopify Rebellion, ByuN. Look, guys, I'm just very used to seeing Colossi survive when they've got a super battery on them, okay? I'm almost convinced that any army versus a Colossus and super battery, Colossus lives, so... Excuse my bias when I say the Colossi would have lived. I think it would have done. Yeah, maybe not, but... I do feel like it's hard to kind of see the difference in the moment, right, of the super battery, like... Seeing where the sort of survival point is versus where, you know, where it would usually die versus now where it dies. Anyways. 100 kills. Yeah, 100 kill Colossus was sick. That was exciting, though. How do you lose 22 probes when you're only on 2 bases and ByuN's on 3? Because ByuN wasn't on 3 when he lost 22 probes. It's a 3 racks that you don't scout. I mean, basically, 3 racks is a very aggressive push, and MaxPax didn't know it was coming until it hit his natural, pretty much. So you had no preparation time. Usually you would have an Immortal, and you would have put more Adept production in play, and you would have had a battery at the front. That combination of things typically means with good macro and control, you can deal with it without taking too much damage. Because 3 racks is already a pretty good opening against Phoenix, because obviously Phoenix don't really, you know, do much to defend the 3 racks immediately. That's why you have to make adjustments, and you have to cut things to get the Immortal and some more gateway units. So if you just don't know about it, you're basically getting build auto counted, and then you just kind of die. So you just have no idea. There's just, like, you should die and lose the game in that position when it's 3 racks versus Phoenix and you don't know about it. Like I say, I said that MaxPax would be dead. I didn't think he'd even continue playing the game. It was just that bad of a position he was in before the attack even hit, you know? How do you not scout with Phoenix? Because with your Phoenix, you make a choice. You can scout with your first Phoenix if you want, but then you reveal that you're going Phoenix. Now, that's actually not a bad thing against 3 racks. Against 3 racks, actually, would be good to scout. But because you're playing against a Terran and you don't know what they're doing, you want to stack the Phoenix up and hide them so that if they go for a mine drop, you get a free kill on a medevac and the Widow Mines do nothing. Whereas if you reveal the Phoenix early, the Terran can play around that more and be a lot more cautious. So typically it's normal to stack up at least your first couple of Phoenix before you scout, because you want to try and kind of come in as a bit of a surprise. And on this map, he actually comes through the top, so he actually goes with 2 Phoenix, hits the natural, doesn't go into the main, but he hits the natural because he's like, well, if there's a medevac coming out, intercept it through this very common flight route. Which also means he misses the bio push in the middle of the map, so there is really just a compendium of ways to lose to a 3 racks all put together. Like, every part of it was just like... It was bad decision after bad decision for the game he was in, but it was just like, they're not overall bad decisions, there's a reason he plays like that, right? Wouldn't a scout with an adept be better? Yeah, but you can't get into the main base because it's stargazers, so you have a full wall off. So you don't know if it's 3 racks or if it's, you don't know if it's 3 racks or if it's a factory still. Oh no! The Reaper baits with the Widow Mines! Gets a Phoenix kill. Ouch. Alright, well, Raven on the way up here from ByuN, as we do see the new Raven in the siege for the first time. That was a cute little play to get a Phoenix kill, right? Gonna get the Viking coming forward here, we're gonna put some damage out. You wanna kill these, Widow Mines, you're going to pay the price. That's some serious damage onto the Phoenix. Reaper tries to provide the high ground vision, but the Cyclone was just out of range by the end. And, yeah, super cute play by ByuN. Gets a Phoenix kill, is obviously amazing, slowing down the Phoenix count, and then you're pushing with Viking Cyclone. Yeah, well, the Raven's coming up as well, by the way, so we'll see what impact the Raven has on this in the next few moments, see how he wants to utilize it in this scenario. The Raven against Phoenix is obviously pretty vulnerable. The Phoenix can obviously jump on the Raven and kill it off pretty quickly a lot of the time, so gotta be pretty careful with it. As the Nexus comes up on the 3rd location, we'll see a Widow Mine burrowing and just gonna be having the few Stalkers. Oh no, they have to go through the Widow Mines, so that's gonna be a dead Stalker. The Raven does not use itself just yet, so keeping its energy for the moment, as long as possible, basically, to try and really decide when he wants to make use of it, as he is going to get chased away here. ByuN, taking a few losses. I think this is where you auto turret. Raven goes down. Cyclone was locked onto the wrong Phoenix to guarantee the kill, and that is going to be ByuN pushing this force back, and is going to be able to clean up. +1 attack on the engineering bay. Just going to be seeing the robo bay coming through, the gateway coming up. MaxPax does hold his third base as ByuN gets a stim pack, +1 attack, all of that on the way in for the moment. So a lot of setup for the moment here. Just going to see a couple of extra gates coming through, and man, Viking even getting rid of a Phoenix as well. Phoenix are the sort of unit you want to keep alive as long as possible. The longer you keep them alive, the more energy they get, the more lifts they make, the more they support the other Phoenix when making pickoffs like that. Losing Phoenix is painful, and at this point we've lost multiple throughout the course of this game. It's been rough so far. Jalea, thank you so much for the 21-month resub. So good to see you back. Thank you so much for resubscribing and supporting the channel. As we are going to scan kill the Observer. Another pickoff in favor of ByuN. Having an absolutely killer time of this so far. As I do peel back down to the bottom of these Phoenix. Trying to see what they can do. Going to dive into this mineral line. SCV is being lifted pretty much immediately. SCV is going to get shredded to start as a couple Marines come around. That Phoenix just about surviving, just about making it by there. You push on forward, and the initial pylon will take some damage as well. And ByuN is going to continue to push up, but walking into this army, he's obviously going to have a little bit of trouble as Phoenix going to come back around down to the south. Just going to make their way over on that side. Just going to come in, lift up an SCV. Yes, command center production, but they're going to get intercepted. Another Phoenix falls. And even this Viking is low but not dead. I mean, it just feels as though we're getting nothing out of all of these trades here as MaxPax. Oh no. The Cyclone, by the way, I want to nominate it for worst Cyclone in a long time because it has consistently been locked onto the wrong unit. Yeah, it has been good, don't get me wrong, it's not bad, it's just I feel like this Cyclone has so often had the lock-on on the Phoenix that actually doesn't die and it's just full of shields at the end. Compared to if it just locked onto the lower health Phoenix, it would have had a kill, you know? Yeah. Well, this is going to be seeing our charge coming up, and Colossi coming through. MaxPax still in play in this game. I've been very kind of biased, I guess, on the casting in ByuN's favor, but just because we've seen quite a few Phoenix die typically feels quite bad. Remember, though, ByuN did lose a Raven. He did lose some SCVs, and he's lost a few Marines. So, the overall resource loss hasn't been bad. Overall, I think I do prefer it a bit for ByuN, but it's absolutely a playable situation for MaxPax. This isn't like the last game where he took so much damage early that there was just no coming back from it. So, a very different situation. As our units of MaxPax will be making their way down through the center of the map. Our tanks will siege up. Just going to be seeing another forge going down. +1 attack is about to finish on the forge as well. Just getting that completed. Yeah, this army looking to push down to the south. Here we go. This turret will set up. Bio going to stim. Knock down a depot pretty much straight away. That turret goes down too. ByuN in a little bit of an awkward position here. These Colossi, not something he really wants to be fighting against. EMP's coming down. He just cleaned up the Zealots mostly on the other side. I don't like the positioning from MaxPax. A lot of his units are kind of, they're very choked up in the wrong way. Like, they're in a very narrow kind of line, so ByuN's able to fight a lot of them without the rest getting involved. Then his supply block, though, losing depots, is going to be interrupting his production. He was already supply blocked a bit earlier as well. Here we go, a dive forward here as the Phoenix will lift up a couple of the siege tanks, take away the defensive anchors of this army. The Colossi are just going to wail away on this Bioforce. I do not think there's a way to kill these Colossi. If we can break through on the ground force, I guess the Marauders will deal with it. But the extra Zealots coming in, that's going to try and make a stop to this. I mean, a lot of the Protoss army kind of melted very quickly, which is why I kind of halted mid-sentence, because ByuN's kind of proving me wrong. MaxPax with a bunch of money still to spend in the bank. He's going to start up Blink and further upgrades in general. You do have the Prism into the main. That's one thing ByuN has not had to deal with just yet. There's So we'll take a few free shots, but it will get its unload, and if it wants to warp in more, it will be able to as well. So ByuN has to send some units to deal with that. MaxPax has retreated home, though. This attack of MaxPax will not go any further. This will be halted for the moment. This game will go on. Next, the top side all saturated up. 2 upgrades coming in from ByuN. Vikings are starting as well, so you'll have a better answer to Colossi than what he had previously. Good hold from ByuN because he was in some serious trouble. Might still be in some trouble. He uses an EMP to drop down the observer. It's obviously expensive. I mean, you only have limited amount of EMPs. Is that EMP on the observer really worth saving a scan versus an extra EMP on this army? ByuN does scan and sees the army. He has a sensor tower up. And honestly, it feels like the radius of those is still insane. I feel like we could have reduced the radius by twice as much as we did, and we'd still probably be like, man, the sensor towers are sick. Pushing forward for Colossi. We do have a few Vikings. We're going to have to stim into this at some point. Man, there's so many Zealots. Upgrade +2 just finished up for MaxPax, so he has a little bit of a better attacking upgrade. Usually armor upgrades the one we talk about here for the Zealots at least. That's going to be seeing for the moment ByuN holding, but he is losing a lot. And I think overall MaxPax will probably rebuild a little further and more or less just get ready to go again. This tower will be taken down. A little bit of bio will stim in. All these Zealots already being dropped, and the Archons continue to chase through as well. The Archons beginning to drop down. The Vikings are continuing to fight against the Colossi. Our Zealots will come through. 22 SCVs going down. MaxPax definitely has enough to win this game out, and that is going to be a MaxPax tying the series up 1-1 in our best. It's hard to say. Maybe 2 years down the line, I'll look back at this mistake and be like, God damn. I really did that to the Piplup, huh? Bottom left-hand side, our blue Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion. Make some noise if you're cheering on ByuN. Danny the Veteran making some noise with a gifted sub to Soul. Thank you very much. Top right-hand side, our Red Protoss player just tied up this series. It is a MaxPax from Psystorm Game. Let us know who you're cheering for, guys. Let us know who you want to see in the finals. I mean, what do you guys want to see in the finals? ZVP or ZVT? Again, it is Ragnarok who is waiting there. He's been waiting about an hour and a half. Not a bad amount of time to wait. He knew that going into today, though. I'm sure he's staying warmed up and ready to play as soon as these two are finished. These two are grinders as well. They'll not complain about having to play a few matches in a row, so we'll be straight into that finals once this semi-final wraps up today, guys. Don't you worry about that one little bit. I'm sure nobody was. Probe on a journey down across to the bottom. It's just going to come through initially and get some scouting information inside and out. Another of the smaller maps here. Not that really held MaxPax back last time around, but maybe something he'll try and take to his advantage even this time. Very possible. SCV chases a particular probe. Is 2 Reapers, so actually a second Rax in the base. Cute little build here from ByuN. The probe sees 1 Rax and only 1 gas, so you don't see the second Rax. Do you worry about the lack of a second gas maybe and not seeing an expansion? Maybe not. Great for the Reaper if he catches the probe, which he is going to do. So the Reaper immediately going to deny this. And so you don't know that it's multiple Reapers here as MaxPax. This could get kind of awkward very quickly. Because if you don't know how much is coming your way, it's very hard to then prepare properly against it. Actually, I'm a little bit worried. Adept is going to come Chrono boosting along. It's going to be rallying out to the other Adept for a few moments. We do have the Stargate still producing in the main base. There's no battery in play. And triple Reaper. 3 Reapers will 2-shot probes, and if they can just stay out of reach of these Adepts, they can do a lot of damage. So, yeah, I'm a little bit worried, honestly. I genuinely am a little concerned. The Adepts are going to be in position, though, immediately. That's so good. Okay, kill a Reaper immediately. Okay, that's really good. If the Adepts were out of position, Phoenix obviously would have been pretty nasty as ByuN. Delayed CC on top of the fact it was already a delayed CC. And so it does go down, and the SCV will get to rebuilding it. Yeah, not letting the Reapers into the main base is a really big deal. Good defense. Now, ByuN's not super far behind from not dealing damage here. Yeah, he delayed his own CC a bit. He lost a Reaper for no reason, but he can still argue, I think, that he's in an okay spot. It's obviously good to keep the builds different and keep the Protoss player kind of wondering what's coming up next and what might be happening. Maybe use this information against them in a future match as well. Reapers will get one probe, so they are going to finally start dealing some damage. We're going to have at least a second probe kill here. We will turn, and the Adepts will get the kill. And we should have the Adepts able to kill off this other Reaper too. So 2 probes go down at the end. So 2 probes do fall. The Phoenix coming now down to the bottom left side. Just going to see our Warp Gate finishing up soon, and the Phoenix, well, not going to get hit by that initial Widow Mine, which is out lurking in the center. So here comes the Phoenix, but Marines instantly on top of them, going to try and minimize what these Phoenix can achieve. We start the cloak on the starport to make this look like a Banshee, but obviously this is in fact a Raven. This would be really nice to actually hide away from the Phoenix, especially for as long as possible, as the Widow Mine does connect. Doesn't get a kill, of course, on Phoenix, but does bring them low HP. So that at least is a little bit of a factor to keep in mind. Raven pops. The Marines are still zoning these Phoenix, by the way. At this point, you don't really want to let them get back into the base, because you don't want them to get the scout on the lack of cloaked Banshee, but they are going to come in from the far side, and they will see the starport is no longer on the tech lab. You might assume the Raven's on the map at this point, and the Phoenix might go hunting for it, because, you know, now you assume it's a Raven instead of a Banshee. If he was to do that, he would be incorrect. The Raven is with the army. I don't believe he saw it yet because it was in the natural and the Phoenix moved into the main base. But that way something we can discuss perhaps as the Cyclone. With Widow Mines really chipping down at these Phoenix, they are getting lower and lower on HP. I mean, sooner rather than later that is going to actually become an issue. There will be a problem at some point. Colossi on the way up, so Phoenix Colossus as the style. If this Raven can survive to actually get 2 Matrices down on Colossi for a push, that would be incredible. It is just so hard to keep the Raven alive when the Phoenix are there. I mean, the Phoenix can even make a realistic dive against the Phoenix, against the Raven and get a kill. Even if you lose a Phoenix in that process, it's almost always worthwhile. Even like right now, like where's the anti-air to really stop the Phoenix from committing through? And there's a little bit, and I guess a lot of these Phoenix are low, so you've got to be pretty cautious about this choice. Else you might be in trouble. Phoenix make their way down the bottom left. We are going to be having the Raven pulling back slightly. Stimpack will be finishing up soon. We'll see a real power spike for ByuN in the early stages of this game. We'll see if he uses it. That one goes down over the right side. Just going to be seeing a few units of ByuN going to begin moving forward a little bit. Just want to try and get some damage onto this orbital command, which is flying out. Obviously, again, the Phoenix mostly just keeping track of things, keeping an eye on everything that is currently taking place. It's going to be seeing them for the moment pushed off to the side again. ByuN just being passive because, I mean, what do you do? Push across the map into Colossi, drop against Phoenix. He doesn't have really a good aggressive option in this case, so he's just happy to sit back and build up. All this time, though, MaxPax has been on a great economy. He's had to be slow to his own third base. And yeah, ByuN just hasn't really been able to have much of a say about what's been going on in this game for now. Mules just dropped down into the base over there. Just going to be seeing our Ghost Academy coming up. About halfway done. Missile turret still coming through. Just going to be seeing our 1-1 upgrades. We're going to be finishing shortly from ByuN as well. It's just going to be seeing the 1-1 about to complete. what point does ByuN feel like going onto the map? Or is at this point it just way too late? It might be. He's got 1-1. Obviously, upgrades is something you take a lead on when it is Phoenix against Colossus against your Bioforce, because the Phoenix Colossus focuses so much on being super tech heavy. You can't slip the forge in until much later, so no surprise to see ByuN's advantage there. He's about to get Ghost. I mean, that generally would open some opportunities, right? Some good EMPs can almost always enable some of these fights to be pretty decent for you, so that might not be such a bad choice at all. As our Bio comes running across, looks down an Adept, and just able to grab a Phoenix, some revenge for that Raven. In fact, going to get a second Phoenix as well. Cyclone locked on. Do we have a scan? I mean, might have been out of range even with the scan, actually. It was going to be very close. Well, Foresight and Archons joined together. There's not a lot of Zealots yet, guys. A little worried about MaxPax's supporting cast, right? Like, the Archons will melt to the EMPs, and it just feels like we need another big round of Zealot production to really protect this force, so a little concerned right now. Now, Phoenix are going to get rid of a Cyclone, though. A huge amount of Zealots warp in on the left-hand side. It pushes around into the center. Prism trying to make its way towards the main/third. Just going to get the ByuN units here immediately to get through a bunch of these Zealots. Still able to push that back. A little snipe going down as well, and ByuN still coming out the front. Scanning up. Observer going to be seen. Going to get a little scan again, and the Observer will get shot down, so Observer picked off here. I'm just going to grab ourselves a little EMP on those Phoenix as well. It's doing pretty well for ourselves. Still just seeing this force of ByuN moving out down to the south. Well, we're going to end up maxed out versus maxed out. Maybe in the end this is the best way for ByuN to make fights happen at this stage, right? Because any other way may not have been good enough. At least ByuN can get a very convincing army of his own, but he is going to have to start playing against some of those tougher things to play against on the Protoss side. DTs, for example, coming up. Now the Disruptors are coming out. There's an attack on the left. ByuN eats the Disruptor shot. Disruptors not as deadly as they were. Less area on them, but still, when they hit dead center, are going to pack a punch. These Zealots really saved MaxPax here. I actually think ByuN would have had a great fight on the right if he was fully focused on it. I actually think MaxPax needs to be careful right now if he gets surrounded on both sides. I just don't feel like there's enough strength in this army. There's no Zealots to tank or anything. Well, let's see. First Disruptor shot coming through. There's a few Zealots showing up. ByuN ends up kind of making this a one-way battle. The MPs are good. The Disruptor shot finally comes through. Kind of hits dead center. A little bit of a mistake, or not even a mistake from ByuN, just messy, right? As you can dodge this Disruptor shot much more easily. He's gotten rid of all the Phoenix. Massive warping of Zealot Stalker. Can the Vikings get rid of the Prism? Yes, and there was still a Colossus inside. Massive for ByuN again. Resetting the Colossi count. This is going to start being a Stalker Disruptor game, which is still dangerous, but it's much more flimsy for the Protoss player to keep control of and to really make stuff happen with. So that will be quite a problem as the Ghost will put some shots out on this Adept. Adept will go down. And our Bio army of ByuN going to come back across the other way. We'll stim up. All of these Zealots will likely get knocked down as well. Just going to get rid of one of those. The Sky, that was a snipe cancel. Zealot got out of range of the Ghost, so the snipe didn't go off. That might have been a vision thing, but we'll pretend it was the nerf. We'll pretend it was the range change. Ghosts are so underpowered, guys. They couldn't even snipe a Zealot. There's one Colossus is almost dead to those few Vikings, by the way, as the couple of Ghosts are going to go on the flank. Disruptors trying to line up. Obviously, these Ghosts were actually just not meant to be here. ByuN losing track of those with everything moving around, and obviously not easy to keep on top of everything, so understandable. Gonna send a bit of a stim forward. He does get the Disruptor before it connects. That was a massive call from ByuN. If that was wrong, it would have cost him a lot of units, and maybe then MaxPax is able to break through. High pressure situation in these games. As it feels like every single one of these fights has the potential to just swing the other way at a moment's notice. This tank shouldn't survive this if the Disruptor connects, but Disruptor does not connect, and the tank will be able to kind of zone a couple of the entrances. 15 SCVs dead, though. MaxPax on 99 workers. Well, that seems great for building up, but obviously then you do need to keep trading because you never want the Terran to be maxed out, because then his army's going to be so much larger than yours. It could be a pretty serious issue as well. MaxPax still has that one Colossus, still reinforced and primarily with Disruptors here. The Zealot Force is just going to run directly into a Bio army. This will not go well for you. And ByuN is going to try and get the jump on this force, drops the EMP, hits the one Disruptor that fired, tries to dodge this one, is a little bit too slow, but he will still grab himself a second Disruptor kill of this game. Of this fight, sorry, not of the game. There's been a few. Vikings get rid of the Colossus as well. This is a massive win for ByuN, who's now starting to flank this force. He's going to have a massive concave here. Let's see what the Disruptors do. Kills this one. This one will find actually a chunk of army supply at least. MaxPax finding something towards the tail end. Otherwise, this was a disastrous fight for him. It still has been disastrous for him. Robo facility here immediately in trouble. Is ByuN going to get himself surrounded by the Warpins? Super Battery is going to get killed, so that at least is not a fact. We've got a lot of ghosts here. I want an EMP refresher on some of these Zealots as we continue to back away. The Disruptor shot should force ByuN to lift, perhaps. I thought it was going to force him to lift, but he actually just continues to walk out of there. MaxPax does have money to rebuild because they gain 103 workers. But he's down 40 army supply now, so I don't know if he can actually win a fight. ByuN isn't even... that was a ghost snipe range cancel, by the way. Had a couple more Zealots queued up. ByuN isn't even dropping EMPs, he's just staying away, and he's actually going to spot these DTs that have just moved out, so he might be able to catch those, or at least prepare against them. He is looking for this Nexus kill as we get a few more snipes, and as the Zealots try to come in. Disruptors do not reach. ByuN controlling this right side, another Disruptor shot that just doesn't land. The DTs are making a play. Disruptor here does land now on some ghosts, however. DTs do get rid of the Planetary Fortress, so ByuN loses his 4th base. We'll have to replace that with the building 5th. That's a shame because obviously you would have actually truly liked to have gotten a 5th base up here. We do at least kill all but one DT, so it's an expensive trade for MaxPax, who does have money, but again, spending it is an issue. 12 Warpins at once, but I mean, it's Zealot, Stalker, Disruptor again. I just don't know if he's getting enough quality out of his production here. How many gateways are we on? We are just on the 12. I mean, with 100 plus probes, you would have thought maybe he would have invested into a couple of more gateways as well. He had the money to get some extra gates online so he could rebuild more quickly each time. I'm not sure it would have changed much because I still feel like he would have, I mean, he obviously would have spent more money right now, but I still feel like what he's building is not necessarily good enough anyway. He's going to have a big drop into the main base. It's only Stalkers here defensively. I guess a one fight for ByuN, no doubt, as he stays safe against Disruptors. Probes are dropping as well. Super Battery actually pops in the main base. We are going to lose a pylon, though. That depowers a chunk of the gates. Well, now there's no way MaxPax is going to spend his money if this pylon gets cancelled off a second time. The probe just rebuild it. ByuN targets it. Stalker's still dying, by the way. His Stalkers are not having a good time at all. He catches the Disruptors. He's going to get a bunch of them splits last second. So, yeah, you'll lose some units, but killing the Disruptor count off. Fantastic for ByuN. He was already starting to win out in this game, but this is just going to help confirm that. As we are going to come through. All of these probes continue to drop. This base likely to go down. The top left base will be the next target along from there. And this is looking to be ByuN's 2-1 lead in the best of 5. Inside and out, 17 minutes of, well, later game TvP here on the patch. Of course, those Ghost EMPs, snipes have been changed, something we saw a little bit of here. GG is called for MaxPax, and map 4 is going to be a rock on into map number 4 of the semi-final. In the bottom right corner, our blue Protoss player from Systone Gaming, MaxPax. Down 1 needs to win both these upcoming maps to make it to the finals. Only needing one more map will be our red Terran player from Shopify Rebellion in the top left. It's ByuN. ByuN played a solid later game situation there, really found himself some good fights. Really assessed the game and said, yeah, I just can't fight much earlier than this, so I'm not going to. There's 2 racks opening here from ByuN again, so we're going to see a little bit of what he tried to do on the last map. Unsuccessful with those initial Reapers. This would seem to be more of the same. See if MaxPax wants to check the base a little bit more carefully this time around. Ooh. Just going to go in, see the one gas, and back away to try and block the... It makes sense, right? Because you want to block this expansion as long as possible, so it does make sense to kind of pull out the main ASAP once you realize it is an attempted expansion. Expansion would be going down around about now. Now MaxPax will come back in and say, huh, you're not really trying to expand. And now he spots the second rack, so he gets that confirmation, but the probe gets locked in, so that's going to be a guaranteed kill for ByuN. It's just some early game mind games and switch-ups from what we've seen previously going on based on the fact that we kind of know a bit more about what's maybe going to be going on. Well, Reaper is going to make its way down the bottom right, as we do have an initial kill. He will poke around with Reaper number 1, and he does have Reaper number 1 only. He goes Reactor Tech Lab, so it's a switch-up. So, as MaxPax now, you might be expecting this to be extra, right? But, in fact, it's not. Yeah, like I said, cool little mind games. Oh, we're going to go Concussive Shell. A little Concussive Shell Marine poke could actually be pretty cool if MaxPax isn't quite ready for it. I like it. ByuN just switching things up, making things a little bit awkward for MaxPax as best as he possibly can. Two Dubs is going to shade by, and they really do want to try and jump on this Reaper. This Reaper hops to the high ground, but gets taken down immediately by the Adept Shade. That Reaper does die. Concussive Shell is about to pop up for the Tech Lab. We do have the Stim Pack coming through, a few more Marines coming in. Like I say, with the Concussive Shells, these Adepts could be in some trouble, and that could be an amazing catch for ByuN. As the Adepts begin to shade through, you're going to hide the units against the Adept Shade. And the Adepts saw the Marauder a moment too late with their Shade. It's a recall attempt. Oh, he does save the Adept on super low HP. 1 HP save on the Adept with the recall. Well, that's actually an amazing scout in the end, because now you can start up a battery in preparation as well. You shouldn't really die anymore to this push. Still scary, though. I mean, you don't have a ton of damage output against this. Just the Adepts and now a Stalker or so warping in. Let's see what ByuN can turn this into, if he can turn it into much more damage here. This Concussive Shell is again effective for a little while, but there's only so much you can do. And of course, remember that there is Super Battery available shortly as well. The moment Super Battery pops up, you gotta know that this is gonna be a troubling affair. Let's start putting some work onto the warp gate. Coming through, a few Adepts, taking a bit more damage. I'm surprised that ByuN stuck around so much. Thought he would have backed away a lot sooner, but he has a third Marauder showing up. He's going to kill some Stalkers here, guys. He's going to get one. He's easily going to have number 2, I think. Yes. Okay. Like I say, big deal. And now these Marines in the front just continue to fight against these Adepts. Yeah, I mean, just a good fight altogether from ByuN, right? 38 to 42 workers. Stalkers now have Blink, though. As ByuN is going to try and evacuate with the Marauders if he can. He has Stim, actually, so... Ooh. Oh my god, he actually gets the Marauders away alive. Does he have a bunker or anything? Oh, not yet. Defensively now, ByuN... Yeah, I mean, he has Stim, right? Oh, the Stalkers... Okay, they didn't blink forward as the others blinking back. I thought they'd blink forward. More Stalkers warp in. I mean, MaxPax turns up the pressure with this to 4 gateways. He's going to put the 2 Hurt Marauders in the bunker. That's the right way to go about this. We're going to go for the SCVs here immediately. SCVs pulled back and now pulled back in. We will kill off the Adept, and the Prism will start to split the pressure a little bit as it goes into the main base with a group of these Stalkers. A couple of Marauders and a couple more Marines continuing out, and we will begin to hit the Tech Lab with these Stalkers as well. A few more of those Stalkers now warping in, and perhaps readying a possible blink up into the main as well. And losing a Rax is actually somewhat of a big deal, right? Whoa! That's a brave blink from MaxPax. Did he not remember that Stim was done? I mean, don't get me wrong, the micro with the Warp Prism was cute, but he still lost a chunk of Stalkers to that trade. That was a very brazen blink, and I think very misplaced as well. I was going to say, it would be a big deal if one of these racks went down. Now he actually blinks in with a few more units. Is this enough? The Medevac lifted the units to evacuate, but it goes down as well. GG's, that's enough. I didn't like the first blink. The second blink was much better. I actually think ByuN might have been okay if he didn't lift in the medevac, pull back, get a few SCVs in there. I mean, yeah, you don't want to be losing too many SCVs, but that would have probably kept the game going. We're going to game 5, guys. The semi bottom left-hand side. We'll start off with the Shopify Rebellion Red Terran player. This is ByuN. Top right. A Blue Protoss from Psystorm Gaming. MaxPax. Game 5 of the series, we get a little Chrono Boost going. Probe pops over the side, gateway will go down. SCV is going to be on the way up here as well. A GLHF to get us started off. Tropical is a good map for Protoss to get an easy set of bases to take 4 bases easily. Terrans kind of like some of the tank positions to kind of fire up the ramps and onto bases, but yeah, typically it is a difficult 4 base position to break once the Protoss is set up. Cheeky little probe making a move all the way down to the bottom left then. I was going to see our SCV popping now, going to nibble that probe a little bit. Cybercore coming up, it's about halfway done. I'm just going to be seeing the Nexus coming through as well. So Nexus coming on in, CC going down. It's going to be having the probe chased away off to the center of the map. There's a reactor coming up from ByuN, so again, getting that ready, getting that rolling. Oh, MaxPax is going to drop a pylon off to the left-hand side, so maybe a little bit more aggressive intentions from him in this game. Like I said, ByuN just engineering base, second racks. ByuN hasn't scouted at all, so he is blind. Fast engineering bay would be good against any sort of aggressive Stargate or anything. What is this pylon? I was going to say, to me, it's obviously, it's not really positioned anywhere to do much of anything apart from perhaps just a gateway. Right, I mean, Stargate there, why not just put it a bit more to the left, or even maybe, you could even maybe be a bit cheeky and a bit closer. It's obviously not a proxy of a Twilight or anything. There's just going to be 3 gates early here from MaxPax. Okay, this is going to be very interesting, because you can look at this in 2 very different ways. It's 3 gates against someone who already has a second rack to bioproduction. Fantastic. If ByuN builds a bunker, I actually kind of like it for him. But ByuN doesn't like building bunkers, and that's one of the big issues when you're playing completely blind. And he's not going to have the natural defense that the factory units provide, like a Cyclone or a Siege Tank. Like, 3 racks is nice, the +1 early is great. None of this is going to kick in when you initially need to be defending here. So this probably means you have to pull SCVs to defend, and it's obviously not really the ideal situation, as MaxPax is building the Twilight Council, so he'll be ready to tech up behind this as well. This is not just going to be about the initial 3 gates of units. There's going to be a backup plan. Good devs, 3 bunch of Stalkers. I mean, there is a lot of Marines. It's just, again, how good can Marines really be against Stalkers with no upgrades currently? The one thing I really do like for ByuN here is if he survives in a reasonable-ish position, he has a really strong counterattack, right? Like, MaxPax does not have tech on his army, and this late tech means that the ByuN tech is going to kick in and hit hard. Again, does ByuN just lose too much before his tech is in play, though, for that to really matter? If he already had a bunker, none of this would have been an issue, but it's just that typical Terran tendency to skip out on the bunker. This Stalker will go down. Our Marine count is taking hits, though. Stalker Micro will begin. We get a Marauder showing up. +1 finishes. We get the Stalker on the side. We get the other Stalker as well. And we're still a ways off stim. We got a few Marines in the bunker. I just don't think, I mean, ByuN's obviously losing SCVs during this, so he's 10 workers behind. I just don't think he's done enough defensively. Well, I think he's done enough defensively to be alive, but he doesn't have a counterattack, right? He's lost too much in defending to have any sort of counterattack available to him, and his Adept is going to go after SCVs, talking them down, so going to make sure that ByuN remains behind on the economy. That is the plan from MaxPax here, making sure that doesn't go anywhere. As a little bit of bio will begin to move out the front. 12 SCVs down. Like I said, I could really see a world in which this setup for ByuN can actually be very good. It's just, he took too much damage for it to be very good. And now what, you're going to have to stim to force the Stalkers back already? He gets a kill, but what, you're going to leave the pylon up? It's going to let a few more Stalkers warp in, and now you're surrounded by Stalkers because of that. You stim one more time, your units are killing themselves at this point. Couple of reinforced Marines from the bottom, and we are getting Stalkers. But that was all of our Marauders. Now it's just Marines. They're going to go down. Like I say, there's no counterattack potential. There's no way to make use of these upgrades you have. MaxPax starts up third base in a Robo Bay. Yeah, it's not like MaxPax is crazy on economy, right? You know, third base only just starting now. It's not like he's been super greedy behind all this. Where are we really at then? 41 to 49 probes. Actually, I mean, I want to say it's okay for ByuN. I just don't know if I'm getting a little biased. I don't think I love it, but I don't think it's... I'd say maybe like 60-40 MaxPax. I don't think it's actually super crazy of a lead he's put himself into. I think MaxPax is definitely happy with the position. I just still see, like, I mean, ByuN has the upgrade lead, right? He's got a couple medevacs coming out. Maybe some harassment can start now. But, you know, there are parts of this that I like for ByuN. He can start third CC here as well, right? Which he's just now going to do. Don't look at that cancelled by the Stalkers, though. And yeah, the third is later than the Protoss third base, but that's pretty typical for TvP, so I guess we shouldn't worry about that too much. As we scan to try and get rid of the Observer. Do we just not have enough units? That's rough. Scanning for the Observer and not getting it is obviously just a little bit of a shame. Here, the medevacs at least. It looks as though a lot of the units were just up on the high ground. So obviously initially just playing defense in case of a blink in. So you get a second Stalker kill. That one should be able to blink. I was going to say, if we lose a third Stalker here, that's a mistake by MaxPax. That shouldn't really be allowed to happen at all. Medevacs load up, going to go boosting out to the north. So I'm going to try and aim for the main in the next couple of moments. So in they go. Up over on this side, we have a pylon. It's going to get knocked down. Our Stalkers trying to come in to fight against this. The Colossi will join up with these Stalkers, and yeah, ByuN's just going to try and make a drop into the main. He went back for that one medevac a couple times, though. And the supplies are starting to tell a bit of a tale here. ByuN's supply block down 12 workers. Equal-ish an army. Just not sure how much the +1/+1 upgrades are really making up for you right now, as he does scan for the obs, and he will come out to expand to this third base. Let's see if it will be enough for him all said and done. Can clean out this gateway that got repowered at some stage, so just knock this down. Obviously good to get rid of it. At least then you have to really reinvest as MaxPax on that location if you want to get set back up again, so... Gonna try and get set back over there. BioForce still joining into the middle of the map. Yo, Scarlet, thank you so much for the raid, and welcome everybody. We're in the semi-finals here. It's 2-2 between MaxPax and ByuN. The winner of this plays Ragnarok in our grand final best of 5 up next. And this game started off with a bit of an interesting opening. MaxPax 3-gate pressure. ByuN a fast second racks, but didn't scout. No bunker. Took quite a bit of damage. We've been kind of preferring MaxPax a little bit overall. It kind of feels like ByuN is going to just sort of play a bit more of a passive game and hopefully play a later game setup, which is what he did in the previous game and found a lot of success with it. So he might be on track to that once more here as this army of MaxPax comes pushing forward. I think this was always going to be one of the scariest points for ByuN, because you're just not really set to deal with the Colossus tech yet. So that's where MaxPax says, yeah, deal with this and get yourself to the late game, sure. And that's why MaxPax pushes right now, because yeah, ByuN, if he just sits back, that's fine, but sitting back isn't going to magically get him tech that he's not invested into just yet. So yeah, MaxPax being cautious about this fight. He doesn't want to kind of get overwhelmed. knows that it's, you know, easy to get his Colossi out of position and then into a whole bunch of trouble. So trying to be as careful as possible about that. Just going to be seeing that Widow Mine about to come off cooldown. Just going to get one shot into, well, just a Zealot initially, so not too crazy. Fire Force still pressing through. A couple more Zealots going down. Vikings and Marauders continuing up. And our Vikings will be coming forward again just to try and keep those Colossi and the Prism pushed away as best as possible. ByuN holds on, guys. I mean, anytime that ByuN is holding here, I think I like it, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think immediately, like I say, we're in an immediately great position, but he's getting Vikings, you know, so surviving gives him a chance to get to a better army composition at least. MaxPax will very soon be maxed out. That'll be our new question mark as to whether or not he can break through while maxed out against this ByuN defense. And the Vikings need to be careful. They're somewhat on their own. I know ByuN's often to, you know, a journey to try and pick off some Zealots. Looks like he just stimmed everything to get over there. As he will knock down this Observer. That is good. Obviously now MaxPax can't make his educated set of decisions. He does deny the Prism very quickly, but the Vikings land in the main, so they won't be here to help fight the Colossi. MaxPax again trying to use this as a way to leverage himself into a better position, a better setup, and into perhaps being able to deal some good damage. ByuN chases forward, get himself a Disruptor pretty quickly, in fact, and the Vikings now back to chasing the Colossi. How far do we really chase, though? Apparently quite far. ByuN is on the hunt. There's MaxPax. Moments away from extra upgrades finishing for himself as well. He will lose one Colossus here. Now he's going to turn and fight. ByuN's like, yeah, the moment you're turned to fight me, I feel as though I probably can't engage, so he's just like, I'm out of here, bro. But he did pretty well in the chase. He got a lot of value from just hunting down that Protoss army. Well, MaxPax goes back home to an additional robo facility, a 5th base in production, almost completed even, and a Dark Shrine going to be coming online as well. So that Dark Shrine coming up, DT harassment going to be enabled in this game as we do have a few Zealots. The opportunity there to perhaps get up that ramp will not take it just yet. MaxPax is, well, maxed. Lots of money in the bank. I would like to see him get some extra gates this time. He's currently on his way to 13 gates. Obviously, last game, one of his issues was he just actually had more money than he could spend at times. And obviously, when you're maxed, you should be able to add the extra production to make sure that doesn't become a problem. Vikings will get a few shots off. Actually going to chase for Colossus. Looks like we're going to commit for Colossus even. Where's the Disruptor shot going to come from? The last Viking shot there does get a Colossus, but that was all the Vikings wiped out. ByuN, a few units trailing around from the other side. Can they make a difference? Again, MaxPax is being chased away. There's a little counterattack coming in from the left. I don't think it's anything too major, just one Zealot even. So the majority of that attack already dealt with. MaxPax not getting enough done once more. Big load up from ByuN, who even scans, I think, to check if there's an observer spotting for something like this. So, yeah, I mean, he can kill a base on the top side. At the very least, a recall from MaxPax would be pretty good for ByuN. Force this army back somewhere it doesn't really want to be. He doesn't want to be running home defending. In fact, ByuN's drop is spotted by a Zealot run by. I believe he actually intercepted a little bit of that Zealot run by. He's actually going to kill some rocks, open up that attack path. Interesting. This base, meanwhile, of ByuN is in some serious trouble, so he could really do with getting a base in return. And he is going to start progressing up here, but now MaxPax has already had this base. Oh, ByuN dives, though, gets himself the Disruptor. I mean, MaxPax doesn't really have an army to recall. He's lost a ton of units. He's got, oh, a massive Disruptor shot A, but I was going to say he's got a lot of money to spend, but if ByuN can keep the momentum up, maybe it's never enough, right? If it's just Zealots. 20 probes in the base go down. Obviously, ByuN did lose out on his 3rd base, and he doesn't have a 4th. He is going to rebuild the 3rd, get that relocated. He has a CC to relocate, so that is good news, at least for ByuN. MaxPax able to start spending his money to get close to remaxing Trillion and losing off more Zealots, though this is where ByuN needs to just keep up with efficiency, and maybe even if he could just join everything together and take a larger fight, that's where ByuN could do very well. It's exactly what ByuN starts to do here. Disruptor finds nothing. ByuN is able to dodge away from the tail end of that Disruptor shot. This Disruptor doesn't reach either. The Disruptor enough. But I had a Widow Mine there if the Disruptor shot was a little larger in size. Alright, well, MaxPax is going to lose this forward base as well. Don't get me wrong, this is stuff that ByuN just needs to do because he is not in a good eco position himself. MaxPax will begin to expand down to the south as ByuN is going to load up a chunk of medevacs again. He's going to try and make a play, perhaps into the main base eventually. This observer is trying to track where a drop may come from. I think it's perfectly set up to set sights on this drop coming in. So MaxPax, good repositioning here. Really just aware of the possibilities of what ByuN is up to. And yeah, just going to be super prepared for this drop into the main. I say, these Stalkers already blinked. I guess ByuN doesn't know that. If ByuN knew that those Stalkers already blinked, he maybe could have gone for the YOLO dive. Probably may not have been the smart decision, as ByuN is maxed out right now, guys. Long distance mining a 4th base. He has another CC in the main, so he is going to get a 4th base up. So he's given himself options with the eco. Oh, God. That's a lot of medevacs. But you know what? I mean, ByuN's attacking the right side. There's too many Stalkers being kept back to keep these medevacs away. Obviously, it's a lot of ByuN's army as well. As ByuN is going to go and find the bottom right 5th base. That's a big deal. ByuN keeping those units on patrol is important, because then MaxPax doesn't know when they start moving. They're just always moving, so it's hard to spot on the mini-map when he has a vision of them constantly. It's a good thing to be doing. That's a lot of disruptive shots coming in, and obviously ByuN has to really respect those. So backing away. Ooh, did he lose a medevac there? Was there 4 all the time, or was it 5? One of them obviously goes very low, so... dangerous times as ByuN, killing off some rocks, is actually going to be chased by this army of MaxPax. Crazy few moments as MaxPax trying to defend his 5th base. ByuN has a 4th base up, though. Scan there, sees this Colossus coming around. You can see ByuN's idea here, I think, which is almost... I think he wants to try and get across here to try and punish the fact that these Stalkers are camping out. There are some shots going off. Zealots on the other side of the map, and ByuN's economy is going to be in trouble. He can't quite get here. And he just has, like, 40 supplies stranded on the north of the map. And, like I say, he's trying to make a pretty good rescue expedition to get it out of there. He's going to try and get these Stalkers, but then is he not going to be kind of cornered in by everything else? Yeah, perhaps. I mean, you can see a little bit of a surround coming in from MaxPax. What if ByuN retreats to the left side? Ooh, a little bit slow to stem here. He actually unloaded the force from the medevacs. What can he actually make happen with this? He's now starting to... I think that was a mistake of a lift, right? Just a misclick. He actually kind of gets out of here. Wow. How do you... I mean, just a ridiculous getaway, no? I mean, that felt terrible for him, pushing up this ramp, and somehow it was sort of alright. Both players are still maxed. We load up some units into medevacs right now. ByuN is going to start splitting those off and away. This entire army of MaxPax is pushing forward. ByuN needs to unload, surely. As if you don't unload right now, I don't know when you're ever going to get the chance to. A sneaky DT wanders amongst this army. He's going to get to this base, which doesn't have any detection on it, so that could be an issue as ByuN has to split away from disruptor shots that are coming in from multiple sides, as is his army, also looking for that flank and for that opportunity. He gets the scan off on that cheeky DT. ByuN is broke, as is MaxPax in terms of money, but I mean, they're mining, so they're only broke in terms of immediate money available to them. This is a Viking dive for Colossi. Yeah, I mean, this seems good initially, but then you lose all the Vikings and you don't have any left over. Now it feels kind of scary as ByuN. I mean, how many times we've seen the mass load 4 medevacs off to the other side of the map. Widowmine doesn't get the DT shot off there. Oh, we have the repair. That's good enough on this turret, I think. Keeps it alive. Oh, but the rest of this army of MaxPax down to the south. Planetary Fortress. Oh my god, ByuN is actually microing like a king, right? I mean, some ridiculous moves with the SCVs jumping into the planetary, jumping out. Eventually, a disruptor shot found a few of them. 23 probes die as ByuN forces a recall with the drop across the map. Massive recall forced here, and MaxPax finds himself, well, flailing to find himself an answer. MaxPax down. Army supply down in workers even. And ByuN kept all of his bases alive during this. He lost a few SCVs, sure, but he's actually going to dive forward here. He gets himself the disruptors. He finds himself a Colossus. Stalkers are going to try and chase, I suppose, in the end. The planetary is going to defend against these DTs. And meanwhile, MaxPax is out of position. No recall available. Bottom right base is in a ton of trouble. It is under fire here. ByuN, little bit of an army up on the top, will try and do something. Like I say, the DTs are being dealt with around the map. Again, a few workers. MaxPax is in trouble, guys. He doesn't have economy. He doesn't have army left. And ByuN has just played a ridiculous game of positioning. What an absolute duel between these two. Widowmine finds a ton of probes as well. You're kidding me. 16 probe kill on the mine. Oh my god, they just transferred to a base and die. Oh my god, just when MaxPax is already bleeding, ByuN comes in and cuts his head off. Well, MaxPax basically has one final fight in him. He does not have rebuild potential anymore, and ByuN is going to find a Colossus for free on the start of this. No? Ooh, Disruptor shot does okay, but the Vikings do find it, the Colossus. Now it's a question of, can these Disruptors hit well enough? ByuN is chasing forwards, and can the Disruptors, like I say, do enough long enough so far? Yes, they can. They're doing pretty good. Just going to come across and just going to be having our Bioforce making its way to the top here. We are going to get a cheeky little scan down to see the high ground. ByuN knows what he's attacking into. He wants MaxPax to attack down this ramp as probes continue to find places to long-distance mine from. That's where we're at, 21 minutes in. SCVs are still being struck down by Dark Templar. And DT moves up into the main base right here. Just going to be going after the reactor, and just going to be seeing the reactor going down. EMP will clean out the DT, though. MaxPax tries to find money for an expand on the 12 o'clock. Actually, just a ridiculous game of StarCraft as we have a moment of calm before this whirlwind of a potential base trade starts up. I mean, does MaxPax really attack into this? ByuN's just going to go and put some finishing... Oh! That was nice. I was going to say put some finishing touches on across the map on the basis of MaxPax, but he's actually going to try and surround this army instead. And obviously that disruptor shot was good, but it's not good enough as ByuN continues to, well, split against these disruptors like it's nobody's business. EMP is available, of course, can soften up these disruptors. Just a lot of bio here on the high ground as well. Disruptor's starting to go down. MaxPax has no choice but to type GG's. And that, my friends, is going to be ByuN into the finals of today's event. See a couple of people asking for the rewind on the Widowmine shot. What, about 20 minutes, I think? About here? That was a ridiculous, just game in general. 36 probes, so did it actually already have, just happened there. So actually it already had a bunch of kills and they got 6 more. So I think it got 10 and then a few more. So let's just go back here and we'll just double check. So this is the first time it gets kills apparently, and it gets, yeah, first time it gets 8 kills, and then the second time it recharges and it gets like 7 more. So it wasn't 16 at once. But I mean, it may as well have been. Oh, in fact, it got 1 more, and then later it got more. So it was actually just here a whole bunch of time getting kills. Yeah, kind of ridiculous. Oh my god, what a game, what a series. ByuN goes to the finals against Ragnarok.